Hello everyone and welcome to part 3 of DynaKit Stereo 35 amplifier. Today I'm going to do the upgrades to the amplifier I mentioned. So I'll change the power cord, change out the filter cap. Everybody saw that in the other parts. Part 1 and 2 explains all this stuff. So I changed out the filter cap. I was going to change out the input plugs for the original looking ones, but I decided I think I'll leave these in because they're high quality plugs, and just for the sake of plugging up the holes, I think I'm just going to leave them in. They're soldered in nice, they're nice gold plated quality plugs, and I'm going to leave them in for the inputs. So I'm going to do the power cord, power switch, filter cap, and I'll do a time lapse on that, so there'll be no audio, and I'll actually be able to put some music on so YouTube doesn't copyright me. And I'll be able to listen to some music while I do the upgrades. And I got my soldering iron plugged in, and you see that off camera there. So I got soldering iron plugged in, I got it on. It's all nice and hot. I trimmed the end a little bit, and start taking the components out and put them in. And I'll see you in a few minutes, but it should take me probably a couple hours in real time. And I'll see you then. Oh, almost forgot. Brought to you by Keystone Ice. Brought to you by Keystone Ice. Not really. Keystone Ice doesn't sponsor me, as usual. I just drink the beer. It's winter vacation. Don't forget, this is a P-Bowl video series video. So it's dedicated to P-Bowl winter vacation series. That's what I do on my winter vacation. They always make fun of me. Anyways, hi P-Bowl. Nice cold Keystone waiting for you in the fridge if you want one. Here I go, and we'll change all the components, and we'll condense her down, and you'll see it go by fast, and it'll take a couple hours. See you soon. Well, there you go. It's been a couple hours. I don't know what time I started that. It's 12 o'clock now though, so it's been a couple hours, and I got everything soldered in. Got the new can in place, and got the power cord. So you can see the power cord's attached. It comes in here. ground goes to this nice transformer bolt mount. So it's like a star washer, nice ground to the chassis. I got the hot going through the fuse, and it goes to transformer. Got the neutral going here into the transformer, so the hot's going through the fuse. So the hot is fused. I think that's the right way to do it. I couldn't do the switch. Where is the switch? Somewhere here. Piece of junk. Oh, where it is. There's this big switch I had, and I had a small switch. I don't know where the small switch went. Where did it go? Small switch. There it is. So I soldered the small switch in there, and you can see it's really tiny. You can get it in there. It's tiny, and I managed to solder the wires onto there. So I tinned the wires, I tinned the connectors. I was able to solder it on there. It was a pain because it's really, really tiny. You can see how small it is. Let me hold it with my finger there. So you can see that or what? Remember, it's really tiny, but it's got plastic thread. So I put it on there, and I put the nut on the plastic thread stripped right away to try to tighten it up. And then this switch, it's like, see, it's hard. Now it's kind of easy. There's hard. There, I can't even move it. Can't even move it. It's hard. And then it moves around all over the place, like back and forth this way. And it's a piece of crap. It broke right away. Like this is not working right. Piece of junk. There, it feels like it just broke free, and it's really easy. And sometimes you can't even move it. So I said, well, I can't use that switch. It's too small. It's no good for anything. I wanted to use a small switch. Then I had this big 1/2-inch switch. I was going to put it in the front here. I drilled a hole. As you can see, you probably saw it in the time lapse. You can see me drilling. I drilled a hole right there. You can see that, I think. So I drilled a hole there for the small switch. I was going to put the big switch in here like this. I thought, well, it's kind of big and it's got wires on it, so then there's no terminals to solder onto. I'd have to go with wires, and then probably need heat shrink, I guess. I can put one wire directly to there, but then the other wire would have to be soldered together, and then I'll need heat shrink, or I want to black tape it. So, but it's pretty big. It's a 1/2-inch hole. I don't want to put a 1/2-inch there, so I'm going to look for a 1/4-inch switch. This one's a nice switch. It's got really good, you know, like it actually works. You can hear it, and you can see it. And that works really well. I'll try to turn it there. You can see it's a really good quality switch. So I'll get a 1/4-inch. So I'll have a 1/4-inch hole here with a little smaller switch, and I'll have the on and off. Little template, little plate, so I can tell when it's on or it's off. And I'll drill a hole that's required for a 1/4-inch there, and I'll just resolder the wires back on. Hopefully I'll go on with terminals, 2 terminals. So I'll just move the wire over and then run a wire across. So I didn't get a switch. So the power cord's in, but it's like before, you plug it in, it's going to be on. So it's going to be switched with the preamp. When the preamp turns on, the amplifier is going to turn on. I got the little wire clip there, so you can see it's nice and solid. I can't move the wire back and forth, so it's not gonna, you can pull all you want. I'm pulling really hard right now. It doesn't pull out. It holds the wire there, so you're not going to yank on the connections at all. So it makes it nice and safe. You're not going to, you can actually lift the amp up with that. It's holding it nice and tight. So that's screwed onto there. Got the grounding, got that. So I got the can in. So the old can came out, and if you can see, I tried to do some checking. I kind of gave up because I don't know. I don't think my meter really checks capacitance right. I tried to check capacitance on here. I was getting kind of weird readings. Then these two are joined together, and this is what made me kind of weird, because you can see one is 40 at 500 volts, 20 at 500 volts, 20 at 500 volts, 20 at 500 volts. So it's all, well, actually it is, it's all rated at 500 volts. So actually this can is not original. So it's a Mallory can. It's not original to the amplifier, because original is, I believe, 60 20 20 20. And then 60 20 20. We'll check on there. 60 20 20 at 450 and 20 at 100. Let me see. Let me check what this is. Yeah. So the original is, the first one is 60. This one's only 40. So it's supposed to be 60 at 450, and then 40 at 450. This one's only 20. And then it's supposed to be 20 at 450. This one's 20. No, it's okay. And the last one's 100. It's supposed to be 100 at 25 volts. So So this is, I don't know, they put this cap in here, this is not quite right. They put these two together. What is that going to end up doing? Try to figure this out. So that's the square, so that's 20 at 520, so I made a 40. So I made a 40 on this one. Now, this is some kind of, not this cap, I'm glad I replaced this because this is all wrong. It's not at all like original specifications. And then they had bypassed this one, I believe. They bypassed this one with this cap, which is a 325 volts. So this one was supposed to be 2100, I believe. It was supposed to be 100 microfarad at 25 volts. So they put in a 330 microfarad at 25 volts. It's supposed to be 100 at 25 volts. So this is, I don't know, they stuck this cap in. They must have just had it around and they put in what they thought they could. But I got 40-20-20 and it really is supposed to be 60-40-20. So it's supposed to be 60-40-20. So it's okay, these values are a little bit higher, but they should be, these values should go, the voltage is okay, it's higher voltage than it has to be. But this is all, so it's supposed to be 60-450, this is 40-500. This is supposed to be 40-450, it's 20-500. This is supposed to be 20-450, and it is 20-500. And this is supposed to be 125 volt. So they really made this weird. So they changed things up here. It was working fine, and it's for the power smoothing, so it was pretty quiet. It didn't have any hum or anything like that, so it was working okay, but it's not the right specifications. It might have been overworking the power transformer, because of these values, if you're putting different values here, like microfarads, you don't want higher values because it makes too much higher, because it makes the power transformer work. So this 330 25 volt was really probably over taxing the power transformer. But anyway, so all this is this garbage here. This is a bunch of garbage. I took out the single terminal and all the wires attached to it. I took that out, single block, and this out, and replaced it with the right cap can. So the right cap can is in here at the proper values. I believe I wired it all right. I double checked everything on the diagram, so I took the diagram. Because once I took everything off, I thought, oh, I could just put things to the side. But once I took everything off, everything just went to wherever, and I couldn't figure anything out by memory for sure. So I have this diagram. It shows me, it's really pretty simple. The one leg here shows this one leg here, so I just make sure the wires are. I verified before I did all this, I verified that the wires were going, I could understand what wires are going where, so I just made sure that this grounding one had these wires, this leg for capacitance had this one more grounding, capacitance. So it all worked out. I double checked it afterwards, just after I soldered it in. I just made sure everything looked right, and I think everything's right. So when I plug it in, it shouldn't blow up, and it should actually work, and be all the right values for capacitance. So the power transformer will be working at its specified rates and all that, so it won't affect its frequencies and things like that. So hopefully it's nice and quiet. If it's not as quiet as it's supposed to be, I can increase some capacitance on the 25, I think, but I don't think I'll do that. But anyways, it should work. It's not the factory specification now, so it's all good. Having soldered in pretty well, that wasn't too big of a deal. It's you know, for my first time doing any kind of electronic circuits, except for, you know, I did the crossovers of the speakers, but that's nothing compared to this. So pretty sure I got everything in there good. I got the new power cores grounded, so it's going to be safer, and it's a nice 3-prong plug. It's nice and solid. It's not like the other one. It's all grounded nice, and it's all connected well, and I'll put a power switch in after so I can switch it on and off. It's not important now though. I didn't change the inputs, so I'm going to leave them these gold ones because they're in there really well. They did a good job putting them in. They're good quality plugs. I'm just going to leave them in. It's too much work to take them out, and just for the looks of the screws in the front. I don't think anybody's ever going to notice that. I'll be the only one that ever kind of sees that. Nobody else will go, why is there 2 holes there? But anyway, so it's all looking good. I'll flip it over, and you can see the new cap can in place. I never tried that yet to make sure that it actually gonna. Oh, this thing's heavy. It's in there good, and I should actually put the bottom on first. It's not bad. Feels pretty solid. It's nice. This outside is actually the grounding. Well, we can't see that even inside the frame there. So this outside case is actually the grounding of the capacitors inside. So there's four different values of capacitors in there, and this is actually the grounding for them. So this has to have a good connection to the chassis. It feels pretty solid. Also, what I did, at least I hope what I did, is I tried to put a little bit of solder on this one little tab. So you slide it through and you twist the tabs, and those 4 tabs hold the capacitor into the chassis. So you twist them and pull them up and twist them, and that gives a good connection. It's also grounded. All the wiring's grounded to the can through there, so I think the can gets its ground through there anyway. I tried to put a little bit of solder on this one just to solder this leg onto the chassis to give a good connection, but I don't think I soldered it there. I'll take a closer look, but I don't think the solder actually stuck to the chassis. You can think it's hot enough, but it's probably all right anyways. I might apply a little bit of heat. If I got some problems there, I can, if there's some noise, usually if there's bad ground on that cap guy and you move it around, there'll be some noise, so you move it the one way to get a good connection, it'll make the noise will go away. So we'll see. Hopefully I'm going to plug it in and it's going to work fine and we don't smoke anything. Maybe I'll go over the circuit one more time with a diagram just to make sure I got everything right, because if I hook something up wrong in this cap can, the polarity is wrong, it can explode the caps. So don't want to do that. And so I'm pretty sure I got everything right though, and I'm going to just double check again, so it'll be like a triple check. So I checked it when I wired it, I checked it after I wired it, and I'm going to check it again when I shut the camera off before I plug it in. So everything went well though, I'm pretty happy, and it should work good, and it's all up to factory specifications now. It's not changed with this can, because this can, obviously they changed this because this can would never last, this capacitor can would never last for 48 years. So part of the upgrades was to put a can in. I guess, I don't know, they just found the can that was close in values and they did some things to change it out. So they put they did what they thought was right, I guess. It seemed to work okay, but it's not right. So I actually probably improved the amplifier for sure, brought it back to factory specifications. I have the original cap can that's supposed to be in there with the right values. So good job, and that should be it, and we're all done. I'm pretty happy. I just got to put the power switch in after, and that'll be it for this amp, and I can put it into my stereo system, to my home entertainment system, and it can stay there without me having to take it in and out and do things to it, and be able to enjoy some listening, hopefully for another 48 years.